If you own a property and live in Arkansas, it's a good idea to get really familiar with the state's rental laws so that you know how to protect yourself from litigation and other headaches. In this video, we'll briefly examine the types of rental leases in Arkansas, what you're required as the landlord to disclose to tenants about the property, and how to legally evict tenants. Make sure to hit the link below for lease agreement templates and eviction notices that will work in Arkansas. First, let's talk about types of rental leases. An Arkansas lease agreement is a form that authorizes the rental of a property to a qualified tenant. There are 6 types of lease agreements in Arkansas: standard, commercial, month-to-month, rent-to-own, roommate, and sublease. A standard lease agreement has a fixed beginning and end date. A commercial lease agreement caters specifically to a business or self-employed individual looking to rent a space for work-related reasons. A month-to-month lease agreement has a start date but no end date and can be terminated with a month's notice by the landlord or the tenant. A rent-to-own lease agreement is like a standard lease but gives the tenant the option to purchase the property within a certain time frame. A room rental agreement is used for renting a room in a shared space. A sublease agreement is an agreement that allows a tenant to lease the space to a subtenant. The tenant has to have the landlord's permission to do this. Let's talk about the disclosures landlords are required to make to tenants according to law. In some states, landlords are required to make as many as 10, but in Arkansas, there is just 1. If the property was built before 1978, the house is likely to contain lead-based paint, which is a health hazard, so the tenant must be notified about whether or not the paint contains lead. A lead-based paint disclosure form must be attached to the lease. There are a few other things landlords should know about rental laws in Arkansas. First, the security deposit can't be more than 2 months' rent. Another interesting thing about Arkansas law is that landlords don't actually have to give a tenant notice before entering the property. Many states handle this differently. Still, out of courtesy, it is a good idea to give the tenant at least 24 hours notice. Now let's talk about eviction. Eviction is the process of legally removing a tenant from their rental unit. It's illegal to just change the lock, so it's important to understand the proper process. The first step is to formally serve the tenant with a notice to quit, a document also known as an eviction notice. It's a letter that tells the tenant to either repair a lease violation or move out. There are 3 types of eviction notices in Arkansas. A 3-day notice to quit tells a tenant who has failed to pay rent on time to pay within 3 days or move out. A 14-day notice to quit tells a tenant to fix a problem that's not related to the payment of rent, such as housing an unauthorized pet or otherwise move out. A 30-day notice to quit doesn't necessarily indicate that the tenant has breached a lease, but rather ends a month-to-month tenancy. At eForms, the world's largest database of official legal documents, we've got every form that you'll need to rent property in Arkansas, from lease agreements to notice to quits. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well for more videos that simplify and break down complicated legal matters.